bike is now properly quick. Wow. GS has come of age. Well, welcome to a bit more FarmerTorque. This time out on a glorious day on a 1250 GS. Not any old GS1250, but my own GS1250, which immediately makes any comments I make about such a machine irrelevant, as I'm ridiculously biased. Well, maybe, but probably not. And so how to come... I've been apprehensive about how to handle this one. A GS is, I think it's pretty much the most popular big bike in Europe. They are pretty common bits of kit, and probably fair to say not the most charismatic in the biking community. If you are asked, oh, you ride a bike, what have you got? And answer GS, oh, lovely. If you answer most other things, that, oh, is that yours outside? Next, and the conversation will few. So there's a bit of a stigma about a GS. But hold on, isn't it the best all-round bike in the world? So how best to approach this machine? I'm still hesitating. Oh, let's go for it. It has one of the best ride handling compromises, although it's not much of a compromise. It has one of the best suspension setups of any bike on sale today. Obviously it's an adventure bike, and so it's tall. The standard bike isn't silly tall, the one I'm on here. The adventure is a bit different. You have to have a pretty long leg to comfortably master an adventure. But once you do, the riding position is simply magnificent. It is so comfortable. Legs stretched out, you're upright, bars seem to be in spot on position. I can jump up and stand up on it. When I'm standing up like this, I guess I'd rather the bars were a little bit higher, but boy, I'm being pedantic there. It's a really nice bike to stand up on, and something I do quite a bit across the moors because I can. So great riding position. Seat comfort wasn't always a BMW strong point, but it is now. Superlative, really nice seat. Should point out that this has the apparently not often spec'd comfort seat. Do not understand why not. It's £30. £30, I can't believe it. It is really comfortable, but a big plus from it is that it looks much better than standard. So for me it's a bit of a no-brainer. Does make the seat height a little bit higher, because I guess they've got a bit more padding in there, but not much. And the standard GS like this is sort of sensible. I mean, it's high-ish, but it's sort of sensible seat height. Well, ride, handling, comfort, brakes. If you go back and read reviews of the GS12, nobody really slagged off the brakes. They, nobody really said much about them. I actually didn't like them that much. They stopped, but they had a sort of slightly woolly feel. Slightly, are they going to stop initially? They do, but you've just got to pull them. These are, I think these are sourced from America. They're no longer Brembo on the front, still Brembo on the back, which doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? And but they now have a really nice... Are you going to stay there? You are. Thank you. Maybe you're just sitting there. They've got a really nice initial feel. Do I break one finger? I sometimes one or two fingers. one finger often, as I just brake and try. And I really like these brakes. Personally, I enjoy braking hard, just playing really, not in a straight line, braking hard for corners, using the bike. And so that's, for me, quite a big gain, the brakes. Okay, suspension brakes, ride comfort seat. This is the T exclusive. Oh, do I dislike that name? What's exclusive about it? It's just got a few more toys. It's not exclusive. Rah. TFT screen. Actually, this one's quite complicated and could get in depth, but suffice to say, I can sum it up pretty easily. From what I've seen, it's the best TFT screen on any bike. It's clear, supremely clear, and actually really quite nice to look at. It's elegant, stylish, got a bit of colour in there. Fabulous. It's not so good in the drop down menus and the way it operates deeper into its system, but I won't go on about that now because it's you could talk for half an hour about that. Let's come back to the first bit. As a dashboard, it's just dials. It's not dials anymore, isn't it? No, we're now calling it dashboard. As a screen, it's superb, absolutely superb. So yeah, so that's a plus, not a minus. Sat nav sits above it as always. That's a good place. Screens, I really don't like the standard GS screens on either. I used to like them on the Adventure, but they've made them smaller. And on the standard one, this one, standard, definitely was a problem. And a lot of buffeting, a lot of wind noise. This has a Puig screen, Puig touring screen on it, and is lovely. There are, if you try one of these and you don't like the buffeting or the wind noise, try, let's go between those manholes like that. Look where we're going. A bit of power. So there is a screen solution. As I say, this screen for me is superb. I could, here we go, there. You can't see me doing that, but I can flick the visor up at any speed basically, and yeah, we like that. Now, is this road clear? Can't see just yet. Came up a bit quick there. It is. Okay, where are we now? Mirrors, superb. Luggage, superb. Plus, I don't know how many selections of luggage. I can think of 3 with the Vario cases, the aluminium cases, and the what do they call it? There's the soft luggage option as well. So yeah, if you want luggage, that's before you start on the aftermarket stuff. Looks, I really like the looks of this thing, especially in this latest black exclusive colour scheme. So that's good. There must be something else to mention. Lights, pretty good. They're all LED. I've paid £450 for the extra 2 spotlights, and they're certainly visible. So we like them. Controls, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, considering how many buttons there are. Lovely caravan. Let's see if we can do a bit of overtaking. Here's the road. Well, I've got to wait a moment. Let's select the right gear. Look through that corner and dispatch. Excellent. Which brings me on to the last thing, which is that. Just hopped its front wheel in the air there just by twisting the throttle. Not much, but just a bit. That is torque, and that's the game changer for this bike. The torque figure has gone up a lot, 15% or so. Now around 140 odd Newton meters. It's the same torque as a KTM Super Duke car, very similar figures. Although I think if you looked at the torque curves, I've ridden Super Duke a fair bit, and the thing that hits you on that, well, obviously the performance, the noise, the everything, but it's the torque, that effortless feeling of torque that that thing has in huge amounts. This with a similar amount of torque, but it's probably, with this shift cam, got a flatter power delivery. Whatever, it's really noticeable and deeply impressive on this bike. You can, at odd occasions, every time, you can just about tell that there's something going on in the valve timing at certain speeds if you're on off the throttle, but don't take it as a criticism. The power delivery is extremely linear. It's just that most reviews have said can't tell. You can if you're being pedantic. Apologies for being pedantic. It has enough power to make you think about it. You don't just whack the throttle open anymore. It's well, you probably didn't do that anyway, but you know what I mean. It's a noticeable jump, and does or changes the bike over a 12 more than you think it would do. It doesn't sound that much more, but the nemesis of the BM and the 12, and it's been for a while, with KTM and Ducati adventure bikes having quite a bit more power, up in the 150, 60 or above region, and of course everyone goes in the power figure, and they were quicker. But in the real world, a GS12, you'd have to be at 3 figures before it was dropped by the other 2 bikes. And you have to argue, in the real world then, did the GS need more power? Well, as I twist that there, it has now got it. I haven't done side-by-side tests or anything like that, but subjectively I think I've got in my memory banks pretty clearly the performance of the other bikes. And Farmer's really accurate and subjective test here from his memory, I would say there that this mid-range, it might even have the legs on the other 2 bikes at the moment, unless you really sorted the gears out. So is that a game changer? Well, I think it depends where you come from. If you're a GS12 owner and you're happy, great, fine, wonderful. But the best comment I can give you guys is check your piggy bank before casually test riding a 1250, because I think once smitten, I don't know, I'm not so sure. Roadkill everywhere today for some reason. I'm not so sure you're going to be so happy with your 12 after having the 1250. I thought I was happy with my 12, but look where I am. So there, do you see, just there, just a little bit of torque, and now tweak it. I was in the wrong gear then, but it didn't matter. Still just pulled out the corner. And in everyday riding, oh, blimey, how good is this thing? So that's to the group. So if you're a current GS12 owner, and you look at the 1250, which is inevitable. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to resist. But what about the other group, the KTM Ducati boys? Now, you've had it your own way in the fun side. I think Farmer would argue, as I try and change into 7th, Farmer would argue that the BM still all round, everyday luggage and everything else, there was still a case for it. But there's no question, KTM and Ducati are more spirited rides. And why do you ride a bike? Probably for fun. And that's a pretty compelling argument. And the latest offerings, the 1300 of KTM and the Multistrada, just are superb bikes, and they're fun and thrilling, etc. And they've already got that power. Whether this 1250, I think in the real world, even in the real mildly silly world, in a straight line, I think this, I don't think you'd get left behind. In fact, I suspect this is easier to ride, so for most riders, I think your KTM or Ducati boys would have a job embarrassing you if you were on a 1250. So it's that close now. Is it close enough for those guys to consider buying one? Probably wasn't before on a 12. In any subjective judgment I can give, I'd have to say yes, go and try it. Not sure at all that you would change or you would buy, but you probably should try it just to see what it's like now. What's my guess of what you would do? I suspect you've enjoyed your KTM or your Ducati, and other adventure bikes are available, by the way. There's the new Versys 1000. I'm due to ride that soon, so that's an interesting one to consider. I keep mentioning Ducati and KTM because I know those bikes. I suspect you'll stay true to your colours, with relief that you haven't got to change your Ducati jacket for a BMW one. But to the GS12 owners I said, be warned. I'm not going to say that to you guys and gals. Just go and try one, see what you think. What do I think overall, having done, I don't know how many miles I've done. It's had its first service and we're throttling along. I'll pass this car in a moment and then comment properly. Actually, this car's nipping along a bit. Here we go. Let's go. That's where this bike just slaughters. I might even go to, it's one of, if not the best overtaking bike I've ever ridden, because you're high up, you've got this wonderfully supple suspension which gives immense confidence, so you've got great visibility, great confidence, and it just, with this newfound torque there. See, I was in that corner there, I was more bothered about some gravel on the inside of the corner, and it was there. I have nearly come a big cropper on there. That corner, I had a horrible unsuspected slide, just didn't see the gravel one day, and you know the rest, but got away with it. So I'm a little bit more circumspect. GS is the bike on your side in that it's a little bit more forgiving than the Italians and Austrians, and when the chips are down, you've messed a line up on a corner, etc, etc. I think the GS is probably the one on your side most, but I think, I'm certainly not saying I wouldn't buy another KTM and or a Ducati. Keep going mentioning them both, assume I like both, please. So it's a difficult one. What I would say is we're so lucky to have bikes this good now. and it's probably going to be looked back on as the high spot of road bikes, because there's new regs coming with emissions and all sorts of rubbish, and maybe some power limits. I'm not sure we've ever had it or going to have it as good as we have now. So whatever you've got or thinking of getting, enjoy it. In the meantime, I've tried to give my honest views of this thing, trying desperately not to say that it's the best bike I've ever ridden, which it is. Not the most exciting or the most stimulating, but it's definitely the best. And if you want one bike to do everything, I call this my somewhat dismissively my everyday bike, which is damned with faint praise. Try and look at it another way. I see it as a good thing. So there you have it, Farmer's GS1250 impressions. Thanks for watching, listening to my at times disjointed ramblings. It's a tricky bike to review for obvious reasons, and without sounding, I've tried to highlight some of the negatives, and it's not perfect, and it's not for everyone, but there you go. Thanks for watching FarmerTorque. More vids coming soon, and it's been great to have you along. See you soon.